Lovely people. In this video, I want to walk you through the model that I'm using to support my clients with stress, with anxiety, with chronic pain, with chronic fatigue, right? The real core issues that a lot of people are struggling with today. And I want to show you what a health creation model rather than a symptom management model looks like, right? And so I'm going to kind of walk you through exactly what I teach and how I teach it, right? I've worked with hundreds of clients over the last 5 years and hundreds of practitioners. And I really want to just kind of like take this step by step and really show you how and why this works, right? Before that, right, just a little bit of a backstory. I'm a physiotherapist. For the first 5 years, I worked in hospital settings, right? I was in neurosurgery, I was in intensive care, I worked in orthopedics, right? My role there as a physio was to ensure people are moving and breathing well, right? But I came up against constraints. I became frustrated. I started to really notice that the entire system was built on a model really of symptom management, of symptom suppression, right? This idea that our job was to deal with and manage the symptoms that were arising for someone rather than actually address the root cause of the problem. Right. So there was this frustration kind of building in me, and I kind of went on a journey. Long story short, I found breathwork. Now, I found breathwork in the same way that most people are introduced breathwork as what I call experiential breathwork. You know, there's a bunch of people hyperventilating and emotional release and big experience, right? That is not what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about is the other end of the spectrum, what I call corrective or restorative breathwork. Right? When I came to learn the impact that breathing has on our physiology and on our nervous system, literally everything clicked for me. It's one of those once you see it, you can't unsee it moments. And from that moment, right, my health changed. When I began to introduce these concepts to my patients and clients, my client outcomes changed dramatically. I was able to help more people with more things in a faster time frame. It literally just kind of changed everything. And the amount of times I hear practitioners say, right, oh, this was the missing piece, and then everything kind of fell into place. Breath, if we really consider it as this kind of driver of the state of the body, it literally is in charge of how we produce energy, right? And it is in charge of telling my nervous system about the state of the world, right? Is it scary out there or are we safe? Right? And through these two things, it creates the conditions for either health or dysfunction to emerge. Really important concept here, right? Like we're moving away from this idea of getting rid of symptoms and we're considering what are the conditions required for health to emerge, for health to be present, right? And so where I started to see breathwork become this incredibly powerful tool is in shifting those conditions, right? Creating a change in the state of the body. And so the model that I want to kind of walk you through today is very different to what most people think of when they think of breathwork, right? The model I want to kind of walk you through is this somewhat of an assessment and treatment model, right? Of introducing people to quote unquote what goes wrong with breathing and then what we can do about it, right? So if we kind of consider breathing through three primary kind of pillars, right? The first is the mechanics, which is kind of how we're breathing. The second, right, is physiology. Let me just try and create a little bit more room here. And the third is the nervous system, right? So if we kind of consider these three kind of pillars when we're talking about breath, let's talk about why so many people have dysfunctional breathing mechanics, right? Posture. People are sitting at a desk more than they ever have. People are sitting on their phone more than they ever have, right? What position do we put ourselves when we're sitting on our desk at our computer or sitting on our phone, right? We literally change the shape of the rib cage and the pelvis, and this impacts the diaphragm, right? We breathe differently depending on the shape of our body. Pain. If you, like most people, have experienced back pain, what do you do with your breath when your back hurts? You hold it. What do you do when you get out of the car, roll over in bed, pick up your groceries, pick up your kid? You hold and brace, right? So pain, right? Now 8 in 10 adults experience significant back pain in their lifetime, right? Pain changes the way we breathe. Pregnancy. A woman's body literally changes shape. The rib cage expands, the diaphragm is pushed up out of the but also hormones, physiology, right? There's a really clear impact on the way that a woman breathes from conception to delivery, right? And then we can talk about delivery. And whether that's a vaginal delivery or a C-section, each have differing impacts on the way that we breathe, right? So we've got this kind of like perfect storm. Before we even talk about dysfunction, right? We've got this perfect storm of the environment that we inhabit today, as 21st century humans, is literally driving us to breathe poorly. What happens when we breathe poorly, right? Is we create again this level of dysregulation in the body. My nervous system is interpreting that the world is scary. My ability to produce energy is impaired, right? At the very foundation of what is necessary for someone to be healthy, we've started to disrupt that through dysfunctional breathing, right? The second aspect being physiology. Now, we look at something like stress, and we have to understand the impact that stress has on breathing. What happens when we feel stressed? We breathe shallow. We breathe fast. What happens when we breathe shallow and fast is we actually begin to change the chemistry of our body, right? This is to do with oxygen and carbon dioxide. But more than that, it goes on to impact my blood pressure, my heart rate variability, my brain waves, right? The way that I breathe is literally telling my nervous system, telling my physiology the state that we should be in, how we should be acting, right? And so everything from metabolism, right? Am I burning sugars versus fats, right? Am I storing energy versus using it, right? So we have this massive impact on our breathing due to stress, right? And that stress goes on to impact the state of the body. Right? The third and final piece to this is kind of the nervous system. Now, it's really helpful to really just think about breathing as a line of communication. Let me just talk to this for a moment, right? If we think kind of evolutionary biology, the role that our breath played for all of evolution was kind of an interface between out there and in here, right? The tiger comes out of the bushes, right? My breathing is telling my nervous system something scary is happening, right? We're running for our lives, or maybe we're chasing our food, right? So there's a really predictable response from the brain and body, right? The nervous system to changes in my breath. When I breathe rapidly, that usually signifies something, and it has always signified something: threat, danger, time for action, right? So the nervous system has learned to listen to the way that we breathe to determine what is the appropriate state for us to be in. Why this is so important is a state of restoration and repair, right, will only happen if the nervous system perceives safety, right? And what I mean by safety, it's really like when we consider breath being this kind of like what's happening out there, if my nervous system is on this sympathetic end, right, fight, flight, it does not feel safe, right? It will not allocate resources to recovery, repair, restoration, right? All these wonderful things. If my nervous system determines threat, right, it is going to allocate all those resources to survival. I'm going to increase heart rate. I'm going to divert blood flow to my limbs. I'm going to shut down digestion. I'm going to turn off my immune system. All bad things when we're talking about long-term health, right? So if I'm breathing in a way that my nervous system interprets as threatening, right? If I'm breathing shallow and fast and up into my chest and I'm holding my breath because I'm stressed, like all these things are creating this line of communication that literally tells my nervous system, we are not safe. And I want to kind of really highlight and focus on this for a minute. If your body is receiving 23,000 messages every single day that you are not safe, is it any wonder you don't have any energy, you're chronically in pain, you're depressed, you're anxious, you're overwhelmed, you can't digest your food? Insert list of symptoms here that really may be stemming from a nervous system that is unable to allocate resources to repair and recovery because it is always running from an impending doom, right? This threat that isn't coming, this threat that is being controlled or generated by the way that I'm breathing. And again, why are people breathing so poorly? Well, they sit at the desk, they breathe shallow, they're stressed, they hurt their back, right? They learn bad habits at a young age, right? Like all of these things can kind of contribute to the reason that someone's breathing poorly. But the point I want to make here is this, okay? If breathing is dysfunctional, actually, let me rephrase this. When we restore breathing to its optimal state, What that happens is that then leads to the conditions for my body to be healthy. Okay. It is the restoration of breath. It is the restoration of that kind of line of communication where now the nervous system is getting this message saying, hey, we're okay, we're safe. Let's repair those cells. Let's manage that inflammation. Let's allocate some energy, right, to feeling good and motivated and pursuing my purpose and all these wonderful things, right? So through breath, we create the conditions of our biology to actually be healthy. Very different from symptom management, right? Symptom management is someone's experiencing these things they don't want to experience, and let's see what we can do to get rid of them. So what we teach in this model of breath work that I use is number one, assessment. How are you breathing? And what is that telling your nervous system? And what is it doing to your physiology, right? You've had a desk job for 10 years. You danced, an early age, and you learned these different finishing postures. You've had back surgery. You've been in a car accident, right? Like we go back and we look and like, oh, wait, yeah, is it any wonder that your breathing is maybe a little bit suboptimal, right? From that, we can then actually create this model of restoration, right? We can work through these three lenses of addressing the mechanics of breathing, the physiology of breathing, and then this line of communication with the nervous system. And in doing so, what we're doing is we're creating the conditions for health to actually happen, right? Health is not something we chase, right? We are not broken and need to be fixed. This shift away from symptom management, disease management, right, to creating health unlocks a completely different approach. So this breath first kind of nervous system centric approach is the new paradigm for healthcare. And in applying it with the clients that I'm working with, it literally, I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but it changes everything, right? When we can teach someone how to create a surplus of energy in their body, so going from a deficit of energy to a surplus, and how to access safety in their nervous system, we have now created the necessary foundational building blocks for that person to become healthy. And so this is the model that we kind of teach. And I want to kind of share it here because the constraint, right, the bottleneck, the thing that's holding back a lot of people, maybe yourself included, right, is this relationship between the breath and the nervous system, between breath and physiology. If you are breathing dysfunctionally, 23,000 times a day, nothing will be very effective because your nervous system is constantly in a state of survival, right? It doesn't know how to access recovery and repair because 23,000 times a day it's being told something dangerous might be coming, right? Remember, the brain evolved, right, responding to changes in breath due to changes in the environment. I'm breathing quickly because I'm running away from a tiger. So quick breathing means danger. And so because of that relationship between breathing and the nervous system, it has to be addressed. It has to be unlocked. And the way that we unlock that is by addressing the body, right? The physical, right? The mechanics of breathing, the physiology or the chemistry, and then the nervous system. And when we do those three things and we bring breath back to its optimal state, we restore the capacity of someone's body to be healthy. Oftentimes we don't need now to manage the symptoms because guess what? They resolve themselves. What I want to kind of leave people with, right, is this idea that breathing is not a tool that we use. It is not a wellness add-on. It is a behavior. It is a fundamental driver of health or dysfunction, right? And when we step away or zoom out from this like idea of breath work being this thing where a group of people breathe really heavy, and we start to zoom in on the other end of the spectrum, right? Which is like the way that someone is breathing 24/7 literally creates the conditions in the body for health or disease to emerge. And so we can manage symptoms all we like, but if we don't address that upstream kind of driver, then we're walking up the down escalator. Right? The analogy, right? It's really hard work, and you're working against the tide. We're fighting the body, we're forcing it into submission instead of partnering with it. Right? So the last thing I want to leave you with, right, outside of breath work, is this health creation model. Right? This allows us to start talking about strategies to support and soothe the nervous system, to restore people's energy. We're moving away from managing problems and moving towards supporting people. Right? This move away from managing symptoms to supporting systems. Right? That changes everything. And so if you're interested in applying this kind of model to your work, whether you're a therapist, a teacher, a physio, a massage therapist, right? Doesn't matter what you do, your clients are breathing. And if they're breathing in a way that's disrupting their physiology, this unlock is going to change a lot for them. If that's of interest to you, we open enrollment every month or so, right? Leave your name and email below, and that way I can reach out and let you know once spots are open. If this resonated with you and you're just like, just tell me more now, just DM me FTB, right? Functional Therapeutic Breathwork, the letters FTB on Instagram, or email me and we can have a chat. I want to kind of talk you through this. But I appreciate you perhaps considering a new paradigm when it comes to health, because guess what? The current one ain't working that good, right? We are seeing skyrocketing rates of anxiety, mental health disorder, obesity, immune, right? The list kind of goes on. The current model of symptom management isn't working. And it's time that we kind of create a new one, right? This breath first nervous system centric model is that new paradigm.